ultimate adventure car. Before we reveal the answer, let's look back at those who didn't get the top spot. Number 5 is the Porsche Cayenne Turbo, 2.5 tons going nowhere fast. Number 4 was the Lamborghini LM002, spectacular desert performance, but at what cost? Number 3, the Hummer H1. You can inflate and deflate the tyres with a push of a button, and wow, is it big! The only thing bigger is its fuel bill. Number 2 is Willie's Jeep. It's full of really neat tricks, just be ready for the bumps. Which brings us to the number 1 car on our list. More groundbreaking than the Porsche, more adaptable than the Lamborghini. It's covered more ground than the Hummer and the Jeep. It's our ultimate adventure car. It's the one, it's the only Range Rover.
It will climb up a building. It will climb up a cliff. You can winch it anywhere. You can drive it through a pond.
It's the only car ever to be exhibited in the Louvre.
You know, it invented the idea of off-roading.
Put simply, if Indiana Jones drove a 4x4, it would be a Range Rover.
Of all these cars you listed, is my favorite. Range Rover is a gentleman adventurer and also as tough as they come.
Built for farmers and driven by heroes, it was the first car to travel through the Darien Gap. It was also the first to combine luxury with go-anywhere possibilities, and it is the only car in history to be exhibited at the Louvre. This car is so omnipresent, you may as well call it God. The idea of building the Range Rover was born almost from necessity. British Leyland sales were in the doldrums when they decided to turn their basic go-anywhere 4x4 Land Rover into a luxury car that could still go anywhere. The idea being to go from this to this, while still being able to do this, go back to doing this, so you can get back home in time to do this. So how did they do it? First, you get yourself a stiff chassis. Lose the dog and try it out for size. Good. That stiff chassis combined with a stiff body mounted on rubber will make it a nice, quiet ride. Now remember, up to this point, adventure vehicles were all about this. So what was the secret behind the comfortable ride? We asked these fellas if they knew the answer.
The big improvement was the use of long travel suspension. Land Rovers had about 3 or 4 inches of suspension travel. Range Rover has 9 or 10 inches, and that's the secret.
Big springs. You see, it's so simple when you know the answer. And it was those big springs combined with Range Rover's go-anywhere ingenuity that was put to the test in the world's ultimate off-road adventure.
Within 2 years of launching it, it had driven down Central America, across the Darien Gap, which is completely, legendarily impenetrable bit of swamp and woodland at the top of South America. It's like driving down the Amazon in a sofa, I think was the idea, and they pulled it off.
So let's put this in perspective. For those of you who don't know, the Darien Gap was the Everest of the automotive world. A jungle so dense that even poor Flossie here couldn't pass through it. There had been attempts to drive through it before, but all had failed. After stocking up on vital supplies like beer, cigarettes and fuel, the team set off. Soon conditions were so bad that they could only cover 2.5 miles a day. The jungle environment started to rot the team's clothes. Eventually, they were reduced to their underwear, but the unstoppable Range Rover kept on going. And finally, after 24,000 cans of beer, 80,000 cigarettes and 15,000 gallons of petrol, the Range Rover made it through to the Colombian border. Hurrah!
Viva Inglaterra!
The Range Rover. It's got more cultural kudos than the Cayenne. It's more nimble than the Hummer, as adaptable as a Jeep and a damn sight more comfy. It's crossed the Darien Gap and it's been exhibited alongside the Mona Lisa. And it's our #1 ultimate adventure car. Range Rover, we salute you.
Viva la Range Rover! Viva la Range Rover!